to my channel. So today we'll be discussing about the Spring framework, which recently introduced Spring AI so that it can integrate with various LLM models. So in this video, we'll be discussing about the DeepSeek LLM model, so which essentially we can basically install in our local, and we don't need any internet or anything. So it's totally independent, and we can connect our application, Spring Boot application, with the LLM model. So let's get started. So for this, we need Ollama as a platform. So why Ollama? It's basically we can integrate with various models with the help of Ollama. So in this example, we will be going over the DeepSeek. So R1, DeepSeek R1. And if I go here, so what we have to do first, we have to go and download this for the Windows, let's say, for example. And once the download is complete, we can do next, and we can install it. And once the platform is ready, what you can do, you can come over here and search for DeepSeek. And once you can show based on your computer configuration. I have chosen 7B, and you can copy this command. And next, what you can do, you can go to CMD, and let's launch this, right? So we can search for Ollama list. So since I already installed it, DeepSeek R1 7B, so it's already available, so we can run this. So what we can do, we can take these, we can just copy this using here, and then we can paste it over here, and we can run this, so that we can run on this Ollama platform. So there is one more way we can do it, is using Spring Boot. So if I go here in the Spring Boot, I already written on application. So this is one kind of interactive chat. So you can ask questions. Let's say, let me first check whether my application is running or not. Yeah, it's running. So we will go over two different projects. So one is the risk controller, and one is thymeleaf project, which is nothing but the interactive AI. So we can write questions. Let's say, what is 2 plus I don't know, 2 plus 3, and you can hit submit, and it will process the request. It will be fast because it's running in my local. And once the response is coming up, as you can see, the response is there already. So it has this thing, and then basically whatever it's doing the processing internally, and then this is the outcome of it. Now, so how this is working, it's very simple right now. So what we have to do, we can go to Spring Initializer. We can go here. We can go to Spring Initializer, and we can add some dependencies over here. So we can add, and since we are adding Ollama, yeah, so Ollama AI. So there are different AIs are there which has the support. So based on the your requirement, you can add it. So I am using Ollama, so we have to add that. And also I am using thymeleaf. So just because I need the front end, so I am using this, and we can give the names and everything, and we can hit the download, generate. So once it is done, what we can do, we can extract in our IntelliJ, or I am using Eclipse, and I imported this project and I started it. So it has basically in this demo, right, I'll be going over two controllers. One is the REST endpoint, and one is the controller, which basically it interacts or integrates with the DeepSeek. So these are the two. One is the get API, and one is the post API. So I'll be so the form which you are seeing over here, it's nothing but it's coming from this HTML form HTML. And once it is we submit the request, what it does, the prompt, it comes over here through the request parameter, and then it sends to the LLM model, and then it processes it. So so we can go to the resources, because there are some settings are required in the resources. So this is the only simplest. There are many configurations are there. You can go to Spring AI under the Ollama sections, Spring Doc, and I feel this is the bare minimum things we have to pass, so that our things are running up and running in local. And also, before we go further, we can go to the build.gradle. So what are the things I have added, can show to you. So first is the implementation of the thymeleaf, which is basically we need for the web, and rendering the HTML pages, and then I'm using the starter web because the REST template is the REST endpoints are there, and then I'm using the Ollama, and this is the one, and this is the version. So they haven't released the release version from the Spring AI, so it's still in the snapshot or M6 version. So let me open the thymeleaf, the HTML pages, what it is rendering the HTMLs. So as you can see, this is very simple, where I'm once the request has submit, it basically calls the post method, and then it forms the request, and if any response is there, is basically it's showing in the UI grid. So this is all about this UI and how it interacts. So I'll be showing one more interesting thing which I have done um, using REST controller. So let's do one thing. Let's ask one more question. What time of day we can travel in Bangalore? Because as we know, right, Bangalore is very traffic prone area. So to avoid traffic, so it will take some time, because let me run this. So it will take some time, and meanwhile it's processing, right? So I want to show you how what this guy will do now. Yeah, so let's search for my task manager, and let's see what it is doing, how much CPU it's consuming it. So let's come over here and see you can see here, right? So it's almost taking all almost entire my memory, right? So you can see here, right? So it's processing, that means it's processing, and it's gathering all the statistics, and it will be giving the result. But however, since I'm using a little bit old version, maybe the precision is not much accurate. Yeah. So let's see. Okay, it's still running. Yeah. So let's do one thing. Let's go over one more, the API REST endpoint which I have written for the similar thing, but it's more process oriented. So this controller, as you can see, right, this is the chat, and we'll be calling it from the postman. And what it does actually, I'll tell that what it will do, but I'll just go over the code once. So this has a service layer, and if I go to the service layer, what it will call the model, but along with this, what it will do. So if you see the request, right, it has two things now. It has now chat ID and what is the question. So question we know, right, we just now we send from the UI, and then it's processing it. Now with that, it has a chat ID, so that it will process, and then it will, so for that transaction, for the chat ID, it will keeps in the memory. So what I mean actually, so once I give the demo, I think the things will be clear. And once this result has been obtained, okay, just before that, right, what it is doing. So if I have the chat ID, it basically it will continue with the chat ID. If it is not there, it will create one random ID, and then it will pass on to our model. So once this process has come, it will call this converter. So this converter, what it will do, as you can just now, I think you have seen, right, it has this thing basically whatever the logical processing it will do, and this is the answer. So what I thought, actually, let's grab the answer into two different variables. One is answer and the chain of thoughts, and then we can put into a JSON format, so that we can the basically in the UI we can render in a good shape. Yeah. So with the interest of time, since it is taking a lot of time, so this is what I was talking about. So from the postman, I hit this. So it has already done. I just kept it open, and you can see here, right? So it has the chat ID, and it has this chain of thoughts, and also if I go down, it has the answer. So it's a JSON format, as you can see here. which has all the answers. But I can see there are /n is there. Anyways, we can remove this /n's from here by using some of the, by written a little bit of coding, right? So okay, /n is there. Okay, what we can do, we can dot dot remove dot replace. We can give, how it is, /n, give /n, and we can give this. So what it will do, basically whatever the values it's coming as /n, it will replace with the null values. Okay, so we have to restart this application, but since it is taking long time, let's wait for this. Yeah, so this is what I wanted to show, how the things are working here. So yeah, meanwhile, once it's come up, right, so myself, Mridang Pandit, so this is my official handle. You can connect with me, and it's been 13 years of experience I have in the industry of Java. Yeah. And do comment, do subscribe my channel. I don't know why it's taking so much of time. Okay, it's still going on. Let's wait for some more time. Yeah, so maybe the question is too long for my model. Yeah, so I think let's go over a little bit more deep dive, because it has few more configurations needed. So let's say, for example, if I go to app launcher, uh, this app launcher, it has few bins I have created for the in memory, for the chat memory, and it has one more, the chat client. So this client is essentially, it'll call the API, but the most heavy lifting is done by the Spring AI. So it's calling the builder, and internally I'm calling this bean for the chat memory. You can see here, and once the chat ID is there, it will keep on storing all the records over here in the memory, so that in the same chat, it can be considered in the same chat ID. So in other words, what I mean, actually, I can take this chat ID for the next transaction. What I can do, I can take the chat ID over here, and I can give a comma and then this, and I can send a request, so that, so the system will understand that, okay, this is the same chat ID, the person is continuing. Like we have the chat bots, right? So how it will know if it is the same chat or it's a different chat. So that's how it will consider this chat ID. Okay, finally it came. So as you can see here, right, this doesn't have anything, so it has this think process, and and somewhere the thing is ending somewhere. Yeah, thing. Okay, yeah, I can see here, right, this portion. So this portion is the thinking process, right, and the down below, and this is the answer to avoid the stretch, right, and this is purely for the chat window, right. And now, if you compare this with this, and it has this chain of thoughts, which it's basically before firing the actual code, it's basically determining what all things I have to do, and then this is the actual answer, right. And we have segregated this so that we can use it in the UI in a better shape. Yeah, I think so. This is all about the video, and yeah, thank you so much for your for watching this video. Thank you.